Hey guys, welcome to another Foil Drive episode. We've got Luke Atkinson, a new team rider here at Foil Drive, and he has recently just taken out the FoilFest comp that was at Point Plumber, the biggest surf foil event that we've got in Australia to date. Welcome, Luke.
Thanks, Kiwi. How are we, everyone? Frothing to be here.
Luke's from the beautiful area of Byron Bay. It's actually Lennox Head in particular. And Luke is also a kayak um, tour guide, right?
But yeah, just paddling around the ocean. Spend most of my time on the ocean now. Whether it's foiling or working. At the moment, we've got the
True,
whale coming through, so it's starting to get good, exciting.
true waterman, just always living and breathing. And I'm sure you've got a pretty healthy lifestyle of not doing too much work and doing fun activities in the water like foiling.
Man, I think I work like maybe 3 days a week. It's good. Got the
Love
right
it.
balance.
So good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've recently just got on the Foil Drive team. I know you've known the Foil Drive crew for a long time now, like through events like Marimbula and AWSI. Like you kind of, because you're one of Axis's main team riders, you're kind of always at these special events, and I feel like we've always bumped into each other, and you're just such a down to earth guy and connected really well with Ben and Caitlin that I think just organically you've jumped on the team because you see, well, you tell me, like, why did you jump on the foil drive?
Yeah, well, like you said, I've kind of been in association with, yourself and other team riders through events like you say, Marimbula and, the original Foil Fest down the coast. And, I suppose kind of got close with Ben and Caitlin in Hood River last year at the AWSI event, hanging out with them a bit at the event through Access and through the foil drive stand. And then we actually got caught. So we were leaving when we were leaving Hood River, we flew from Oregon to San Francisco, but we were delayed, and so we missed our connecting flight back to Australia. So we actually spent a day. They, Caitlin was awesome. She kind of did all the calling around, and got us a hotel for the night. And spent a day with them in San Francisco, and just kind of got to know them a bit, and had a really good time actually. And then a bit later on down the track, I think it was actually at the Sydney downwind race that we kind of spoke a bit more, about possibly joining the team. And now jumped on board and frothing. It's so good just to be able to get out. Like to see posts from yourself getting out in bigger swell, just giving you that extra paddle power, or reaching breaks that a bit further out, or without a jet ski or an assist, you wouldn't be able to ride these waves. So it's really stoked to be on the team. And I'm frothing.
Yeah, I've heard some funny stories of when you guys got stuck in San Fran and you were hired the little line bike scooters and you're just
Yeah,
like buzzing around, doubled up on them. And there was like Freddie and Liam there too, wasn't it? Weren't you guys
yeah,
all
that's
stuck in San Fran?
that's it. We drove all the way from the bay round to the bridge, and Freddie and Liam were there winging, and we watched them for a little while, and then we all jumped back on the scooters. I think we were like triple up at one point, and went and got lunch. It was so funny, like and man, these like little chair things. They're like a spinning top chair. You'd sit in them and you'd like rotate around. Man, we had so much. I reckon we spent about 40 minutes on those things. It's so much fun.
Classic. So I think how you were just explaining then how it's like, you found the four drive useful for getting out in different conditions that you weren't able to normally. I've seen also like you've done a lot of jet ski stuff, like you know how to tow. You've also got a background in kiting, right? You're a professional kiter before foiling?
Well, I suppose so. I kind of got into foiling through my kite surfing. So a guy that lives around here, Steve McCormack, he's kind of um, has kite power down in Sydney, and he kind of got me into kite surfing and learning to kite surf, and um, yeah, that really kind of became my main sport there for a while, even over surfing. And then kind of got good at that, and pretty stoked, won a few national titles. But yeah, through kite surfing, got into foiling and kite foiling first, and then yeah, started proning and supping and all the rest of it. But yeah, kite surfing is definitely like still up there with my favorite. Like it's just next level. It's like surfing, but you don't have to paddle. You can do jumps. You can do super powered turns. It's really sick. I really enjoy it.
It honestly sounds a lot like the direction that like I guess foil assist is, right? Like you're always on your feet. It's never
It,
like a dull moment where you have to wait for a wave and paddle for it. It's just like constant action, right?
yeah, that's it. It's constant action. Like when you're foiling, you catch a wave and you're looking around at like what wave you want to jump off to, and you want to make sure you're kind of getting the best wave. And with the kite surfing, like you can ride one wave for 20 meters and decide the next one's better and kick off and get another sick ride. And yeah, it's so much freedom, so much option. So much fun. And then just being able to like free ride around as well, like you can do jumps and like kind of wake style stuff. And yeah, I mean, you've got such a big playground, and so many options really.
Yeah, you dove in a little bit then about like how you got into foiling, and did you say it was kind of surfing was the very first board sport, or
Yeah, yeah. So actually, yes, surfing was the first board sport. I actually remember um, I had a body. I don't know how old I was, but I had a bodyboard, and it was all roughed up. And every time I laid on, I'd get this hell belly rash. And so I started standing up on my bodyboard, so I didn't get the rash. And then from that point forward, I got bought a surfboard, and I think the rest was history. I think I was about 5 at that point.
oh, so
And then
you came from like a family that was like pretty ocean bound, like always at the beach?
nah, not at all. Hey, so my pop is the only surfer in my family. My pop on my mum's side. Other than that,
Hmm.
my mum, my dad, no one else surfed. And so we'd spend time at the beach, but yeah, no one else surfed. So he was a real kind of driving force, I suppose, behind my surfing. I think he kind of instigated, getting surfboards for me, and yeah, really grateful for that. I remember doing surf trips down the coast with him for a week at a time, and yeah, had an awesome time. So really grateful for that opportunity, and yeah, otherwise I
Yeah,
wouldn't be here.
yeah, no, it's interesting because like I feel like you have such a resume of different things you do. Um, and it's I just find it amazing when you don't really come from a background that it's getting pushed. So it really tells me that you've got this inner drive to to excel at something because it seems like whatever you really touch, you do amazing at. So I'm just curious where that mindset originates from and where that drive comes from because that's so rad how your pop was taking you to the like pretty much teaching you to surf and exposing you to that first drug, I guess, that gateway drug of surfing. Um, I'm just like I'm curious where that stemmed. Like, is it always have you always been like? Did you play footy at school where like you were at the top of the footy ladder, or like?
I think that is where it stems from. When you said, I wonder where you get that drive. That's what immediately popped into my head. Like I played, I played soccer when I was 5, and then I actually got kind of a bit bored of soccer. I remember a coach one day asked for my birth certificate because I was way taller than everyone else, and he didn't believe me. I was 5, so kind of from that point, like from that year, I was like, oh, I'm a bit bored of soccer, so I went and played rugby league, and with my size, I played forward, and you know, kind of bowled a lot of kids over, and my dad,
Run it
my
straight.
yeah, that's it, literally. Um, and yeah, my dad was like really kind of motivating in that regard. My whole family was supportive through with my sports, but then yeah, dad was really pushing through rugby. And then I played that right up till I was about 15, and I got into some representative teams, and it was I'd like to think I was a reasonable player. Too many head injuries though, playing as forwards. I think I'm up to about 14 concussions so far. Um, so yeah, kind of quit that, and then just went to the non-contact surf sports, and I think I'm doing better for it. But that's where that's came from. Dad's always on the sideline or telling me to run harder or tackle harder or stop walking in the back play, all the general things.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're a very sporty kid, which is cool, and that kind of translates to kind of what I see now. And yeah,
Sporty and competitive. I think competitive is
competitive. Okay.
yeah. I might not show it so much, but it's definitely there.
That's good. I think everyone that is at your level, even if they say they're not competitive, they're internally competitive, even if it's just with themselves, because they always want to strive for something better. They never feel content with their progression. They always see what can be. There's always someone who's going to do something better than you, and you always want to judge yourself to that and be like, I can do that too.
Yeah, and especially with social media and everything nowadays, everything that anyone does, it's right there in front of you. And so you think if I'm not pulling that strapless backflip or whatever, you're like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very, very easy game to compare yourself with other people.
Totally. And I think it can be healthy, but then I think it can also be very unhealthy where
100%.
you just like you're constantly comparing yourself and it's no good because then you're losing, I feel like that original drive where you're doing it because you like it and it
Yeah,
makes you feel happy. And I think that's super important to reflect on that every now and then because progression is epic. And I feel like when people, like me and yourself get to ride together, I love that stuff. Like today,
yeah,
later on, I'm going riding with Jeremy Wilmot, and that doesn't happen all the time. But when it does, we just push each other because it's just like it's like a sparring partner. It's a healthy relationship of trying to see who goes harder. And I think that's where real progression gets made.
yeah, 100%. It's a tried formula, surfing with a mate or whatever. It's always
I guess you're pretty lucky up there. You're pretty lucky up there. You have a lot of really good foilers surrounding you, right? Like I feel like everyone that's been to that Watergoes area or Byron, like your average foiler is rips. And then the pro foilers are just the best foilers in the world.
it's a very high level up. Like it's pretty, just having the constant supply of long foilable waves. It's just accelerates everyone's ability, and yeah, everyone up here shreds. Like no matter who you go and watch or who you're seeing in the water, they're carving up, and yeah, it's a super super high level up here. Like this Watergoes section, it's just so friendly, and you just get super long rides, so many variations of sections as well. Like you get the real fat bits where you got to pump through it, or it steepens up and it really tests your kind of knowledge of mast height and how you can lean the foil over or not. And yeah, it's pretty sick to see everyone shredding, because every day someone's pulling something new, and that maybe they weren't doing a month ago or whatever. So yeah, it's really cool.
You know what I don't see here? Like when I say here, I mean like your area, like Watergoes,
Yeah.
um, is when I do go to Hawaii, is that there's still so many people that ride strapped in Hawaii, which is something that you never see here in Australia. Hey, like no one's out there in a prone board with straps. Or do you see it?
Nah, I don't see it at all. Like, I think, like Rhett Walshaw, maybe not Rhett. Um, Maybe it was Rhett, but Amos's son used to ride a bit of
Yeah.
straps. Apart from
Yeah,
that,
yeah, I remember that.
yeah, apart from that, no one else I can really remember. It's the same with kiteboarding though. Like, no one really here in Australia rides strapped surfboard kite surfing. But
Hmm.
you go to Hawaii and still you still see videos of Kai Lenny and Jesse Richmond and everyone boosting around in straps and a surfboard, and it's just very different styles, I suppose. But
Yeah.
it's not watch because it unlocks so many different um, tricks and styles of riding. But yeah, you just don't see it around here. What about in Sydney? Do you guys get many down there?
Nah, like honestly, I like I have straps. Like Paul Cooper's a really good friend of mine, and he's given me his one by one straps, and I just haven't got a board made that even has the inserts to put straps.
Yeah,
It's I sorry, my very first, well, not very first, but like probably my third board, I got a Freedom board, and it was a stock board, and it came with the holes for the straps.
yeah,
Um, but I got rid of that board because I didn't like it, and I just never got a board with inserts again. But I did actually try strapped riding once with Paul on the foil drive,
yeah.
and it felt like I was going to break both my knees at the same time. So I was like, That's enough of that."
It's funny, you don't realize, like, until you put straps on, you don't realize how much you move your feet.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I know it's the same, like with kiting, I'm walking all over the board. And then with foiling, like just going from riding stance to then pumping, the back foot, well, my back foot comes forwards, a good 35 centimeters really comes right up next to my front foot. And with straps, you kind of locked into that one position. And then if you screw up your mass positioning or if something's not quite right, you really notice it. But yeah,
Yeah, the old, like, I put them on because I just wanted to boost really, and like yeah, I've got like the position that I would be in to boost, but well before boosting, like when you're just pumping on the wave, and it just felt
yeah,
so wrong. And
yeah,
like, and then when it came to boosting, like, I don't know, because I didn't go into like the section confidently because my feet were in the wrong spot, every time it would just like I'd spin off axis, and like it was just it didn't feel right. But now, like, because now I've been doing a few strapless airs, um, I think I've got the idea of where I need to be, where I need to punt on the wave, and how I need to land. But before that, I was just kind of boosting with the straps, and it was just not. I feel like it was teaching me probably bad habits. So I'm
yeah.
thankful now that I've learnt how to approach a section, when to hit the section, and even what type of section you want. There's all different types of sections, and I've found, and it might be different with you, but I've definitely found with this type of game where you're trying to release the foil and re-engage it, you nearly want a steeper section. Like the fatter the section, the more dangerous it is, I reckon. You want like a nearly like a hectic shorey, and then you land, and then it's where you land is foamy. Like where you hit it, it's vertical, and then where you land, it's foamy.
Yeah, 100%. All sections aren't the same, and yeah, unless you're doing like an ollie, fat
Yeah,
sections are not
yeah.
not where it's at.
Mm.
Yeah, the steep sections, I reckon, are the go. Like you just get that release, and you kind of come up on the right angle where you're not going to like taco back on your foil or do anything
Pops
psycho
you
like
back
that.
in front of the wave instead of off the bat if you hit
Yeah,
it the right angle.
I've kind of been like, because I've had a few people kind of ask, what's going on with the turn and how do you do it, and like I'm not very analytic of my own writing, but watching some videos, like, looks like this wave is like kind of vertical like this, and I don't want to land on my foil, so I always pop it out the back. So the foil is actually behind the wave, and I'm using the board on the vertical part of the wave to re-engage and actually drag the foil back through. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I mean, steep sections is definitely like what I'm looking for. And then obviously when you get more comfortable with it, you can kind of start looking at other sections and trialing some other stuff. But yeah, I think to learn, like, it might be scary to hit that vertical section, but that's kind of where you want to be in my eyes
It's
anyway.
so scary until you do it over 100 times, and then you're like, this is actually better than hitting a shitty section and then tacoing and landing on the foil.
Yeah, that's it. And then speed as well, like, coming in to do an air with heaps of speed, it feels super scary, but it's
Mm.
kind of like what you need. Like if you try and go too slow, and when you try and release, sometimes the foil actually doesn't release out of the water and just catches, and you've kind of taco on it anyway. So there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I reckon fast and steep sections is where it's at.
Talking about you kind of glazed over style a bit there. I personally think that you've got one of the best styles in the game. I just curious where you pull your inspiration from, or if it's purely just feel. Like, do you have guys that you kind of look at in kiting or surfing or any other disciplines where you're like, that looks sick, and then you bring it over into foiling?
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know. I suppose I've always just been a really, you know, I've been a big kid. Like I said before, I was always bigger playing football or whatever. So always been a bit heavy set, and always in my surfing, I've been really front footed. Um, I mean, I never really watched, surf movies and was like, oh, I want to be like that, or anything like that. So I suppose just having that front foot style from the get go has kind of influenced everything. And
What do
um,
you mean by that? Sorry, front foot style for people that don't really know. Is it like you're always leaning on your front leg when you're
yeah,
doing most of the stuff?
yeah, exactly. Like putting more weight over the front foot than the back foot. Like if you look at Kelly Slater or a lot of good surfers, they're kind of driving. They'll be driving through a turn, and you can see it. A lot of it comes off their back foot and how their board drives around. Um, and it's kind of it's something I've forced myself to learn to do. But back watching, looking at photos or watching videos when I was surfing as a kid, I'd kind of do these weird turns and just all be like all my weight on my front foot and just really not work out too well. But I suppose that's where foiling comes in, because like you bomb into a section or you push through a really hard turn, and trying to keep that foil down, you really get on that front leg. Um, and so yeah, I suppose that front footed style has helped me with the foiling. Um, keeping it down, I suppose. And then yeah, just whatever else is formed around it. And I notice a lot of photos, my arms are always in the same position, and you watch people and you see their arms do the same thing over and over, or their little quirks. And yeah, it's funny to actually look at your own sometimes and be like, oh yeah, I've got one too.
It's I can like, not that I've watched a heap of your kiting footage or whatever, but like I love watching what people did before foiling, and then you can see it through their foiling. And I think it's very obvious some of the turns that I've seen, like when you're lit up on the kite and you're like, on your surfboard and you're doing the full finners and like exactly that. Your arms are still in the same spot, but then you just like you can Photoshop a foil on that now, and you're doing the same turn. It's just on a different craft. And I think it's really cool to see that translate across different disciplines, because your body mechanics are using the same, like the same history of what it already knows, but then applying it to something new, which I think for what you're doing and for everything that you do, I think it's super stylish and it looks sick.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, I mean, body mechanics is 100% where it's at. Because like down at Point Plumber, I had a good chat with Jeremy, and he was like, we were chatting after the comp, and he goes, oh, I know it's hard to give advice because obviously you won, but I still think you need to be lower. And and I'm like, man,
Fuck off, Jeremy.
I can't bend my legs like that. So I was like, yeah, it's full body mechanics.
What did he tell you? I'm curious. What did he tell you?
Because he just came off the week coaching up here with
Oh yeah.
Azza, and telling people to bend their knees more and get lower. He's like, he was like, yes, I think you need to bend your knees more. You get lower and get more balance and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, it's working, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's people have such different styles, and I feel like if like for me watching you, yours completely works. Like you got that very upright, you've kind of got that laid back style. Versus like if you watch someone like Perth or Jeremy, it's very drivey, low center of gravity. Like they're always like squatting and pushing, and like it's powerful for sure. Like definitely. Um, but you don't see those guys doing the finners that you're doing. Like your style allows you to maybe get more vertical and do these releases. If you were maybe powering through like drivey, like what he's saying, like getting lower, you'd be boosting out the back and not coming back into the wave. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I'm all ears to everyone. Like I will never shut down anyone's opinion or advice, but I think you're onto something. Hey, and I'm seeing stuff that you're doing that not really anyone else is doing. So I think maybe you've got the secret, and you should be telling people what they should be doing.
yeah, maybe got the secret sauce. No, but
Yeah.
it's all like dynamic, like every section's different, and how you ride a wave, or every wave's different. So it's hard to say that like one style is superior over another. But just being able to read the wave and change your stance or change how you're going to approach it. Like if I'm bombing through a section and just doing a big kind of down carve on the wave, then yeah, I'll try and get a lot lower. But if I'm kind of behind the wash and looking to actually hit that vertical section, I'll be standing up pretty straight, trying to like wash speed and you know be able to then move from a straight kind of upright stance into ready to hit it and take the impact in my legs and compress when I need to rather than start compress. So yeah, it's just varies on wave to wave really.
Okay, cool. I think that's a good segue to FoilFest. Foil Drive was a sponsor of the event, and we had a foil assist category that did you get third in? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, okay, finished up with the third. Yeah.
I'd love to get your perspective of the whole event and in particular the well, and congratulations as well. You took out the event in the because I think Foil Fest is originally a surf foil contest, and you took that part out in the individuals, which is incredible. And then
Thank
now Foil Drive is sponsoring the Foil Assist division, just because there's like a from what I told, because I wasn't there, I got told that nearly the foil assist category was half of the event. So I'm keen to hear your whole outtake of the event and how it went.
Yeah, well, the event was, it was epic, huge success. Absolutely scored waves. The people showed up. I think there was like over, I think it was about 80 registrations or something like that. So it was a huge event. People came from all over the country. You got Hugh Mitchell coming over from WA, and I think there was some crew from Victoria, Sunshine Coast. So yeah, it really drew people in from all over the place, and some of them that were there last year, some new faces, and it was good to see. It was such an epic community event, and just yeah, everyone was frothing, and so yeah, the first day we put on the foil, the foil assist comp. So it was a bit bigger. I think the second day was the biggest, and then it kind of got smaller on the last day. But the foil drive, it was kind of like pretty solid, like 3 foot, 3 to 4 maybe. And yeah, some good weight.
Explain the setup for people that haven't been a point plumber.
Yeah, so plumber, obviously, it's in the name. It's a point break. So you've got the campground in here. The point comes out, and you've got this like rocky ledge where the waves will break, and then they'll go real kind of soft and come through into this deeper water section, and push down onto the beach for some of them as well. So, there's a real takeoff spot, and the wave mellows out and goes really good for foiling or longboarding as well.
Yeah, traditionally it's like a longboard spot, right? So it's kind of perfect for foiling.
Full longboard spot. It's yeah, super sick. It's actually really enjoyable to longboard, and then obviously foil as well. Um, just like long rides, 200 meters, pretty unthreatening break. It is all rock bottom, so it can make for an interesting foil on low tide. There's a few people eating rocks, but that's all part of it. And yeah, there's a boat ramp down on the beach, and so they've got this like little deep section. It's all sand bottom, so with the foil assist, we're paddling out there, and then getting up on foil and cutting out through the break and trying to get to the top of the point, trying to catch some waves. And yeah, it was a bit interesting, like on that first event, because it was a little bit bigger, so it wasn't hugging the point. It was actually pushing down the beach a bit, to pretty wide, and so some people you'd be riding the smaller inside waves, which I was kind of trying to do. Like, I don't know. Personally, I don't love foiling bigger waves. I like being able to ride a smaller wave and rip it a little bit harder. So that's what I was trying to do. And then some of the crew were like bombing in on these huge ones from out wide. So yeah, it was pretty awesome, pretty
Well,
sick
what
to see.
was what was scoring in hindsight? Were those big bombs scoring, or was more like the? I presume you're surfing the smaller ones because you wanted to get more critical in the whitewash.
Yeah, correct. The bigger waves are definitely scoring harder for the foil drive, 100%. Foil drive and the teams event, I think as well. The big waves were scoring huge. It was a real night and day difference. So everyone that was hunting down those big waves was, definitely a step ahead to start off with for sure.
The tell us how they did the foil assist because I know they had a couple buoys set up. Was it like three people or four people on the water at once, or and then you
Yeah,
had to every time you caught a wave, you had to go around that buoy before you get another wave?
it could get pretty busy. Like, I think there was about 5 people in the water. So it
Okay.
was pretty stacked heats, really. And then, yeah, they had that marker buoy. So pretty much we all mowed it out to there to start off with. Heat started, everyone gets up, and you kind of whip out and get a wave. And once you've ridden your wave, yeah, basically you have to go back out and around that marker, um, at least to get priority anyway. I don't think you had to go around there full stop, but if you wanted priority over the lineup, yeah, you definitely had to go around that marker buoy. Um, which was fine for foil assist. Obviously, you just motor through it, but they also had the same rule for the prone division, which made it super hard to get out there and get priority. Um, but it was funny. Like, I remember a couple of times on my heat, we'd be myself and someone else would be motoring to the buoy to try and get priority, and it was a bit of a race. So it was all came into play when it came to catching the waves. It was really easy to get kind of skunked and not have a wave when you get out there, or have to give up a wave to priority. So yeah, it was a pretty
Yeah.
good system, kept it flowing.
How,
And
what did you do? Did you just keep circling like out just beyond where it broke until you seen one that you liked, and
I
whoever was
was
out there doing circles has the right of way over the next one? Or I just don't quite
no,
understand.
everyone always just kind of dived for a wave like as soon as they got out there. I know, like, if I didn't have anything, I'd just keep motoring out and then find one and follow it all the way back in, rather than just chopping around in circles. Because yeah, out the back of Plumber, kind of out the back of where you're catching the waves, the cliffs become really slopey. So the waves come up, and then you get these like backwashy, wedgy ones. And so you get some kind of cool A-framey peaks come through the takeoff, and it was fun to hunt them down for sure. And that's I think that's what I was doing a little bit as well.
So, I think for a lot of crew, this was potentially their first event they've ever participated in. I know in the foil assist division, it definitely was. There was a few people that was the first time. Do you think the event organizers did a good job in making it, yeah, accessible for these people that maybe aren't, that's their first event that they've gone in. Maybe they're not like super confident with their foil driving yet. Yeah, I'm just kind of keen to hear your thoughts on was it a good event for people like that, or was it more targeted at like the pro riders like yourself?
No, it was definitely a good event. It definitely, everyone was involved and well within their capabilities, and having the repechage round as well. So you got, no matter what, you're surfing two heats. The only thing that I suppose in my mind would have made it better is actually, kind of splitting the ages up. Like, I know in my heat I was versing some older crew, and so at that point it's, I don't know, that's the only kind of thing that where I would have changed. But
Yeah.
also, that depends
Could
on
it
numbers in the
could it
division
be
as well.
yeah, could it be like you still verse them in the heat, but um
They get split
yeah, I'm
off
just trying
like
to
that.
think time. Yeah, like they're split because of the age differences. Because I know like, the main person who's foil driving is roughly in their 50s, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. Getting that
Yeah.
paddle assistance.
So I just don't want it to be because I know Rob Piros was not blown up, but he was like in, I don't know, his semi or something. He said that the two guys he was versing, if you added up their ages, it still didn't add up to his. And he
That's,
was just like, I think he said the same thing. He was like, it would be nice if there was like an over 40s or something like that, just to I just
yeah,
don't want it to be like a guy who's like been foil driving for 6 months and he's frothing to go to this event, and then first round he comes up against James Casey, fucking Luke Atkinson, Hugh Mitchell, and then you're just like, I'm going to get knocked first heat for sure.
yeah, that's it. That's I suppose that is the division, right? Like, you got these people that are maybe just getting into it, or people like Rob who, was saying, it should be split into ages, but I suppose like it all depends on numbers. Like otherwise we would have had maybe a heat or two per division, and so
Yeah,
it's
you're
good to
right.
it's good to get into the water with everyone. And
Yeah,
it's like, if you're not, you're doing a comp because obviously you're competitive in some description and you want to do well to some extent, but at the end of the day, like just being in the water in a comp setting, you've got four other people in the water. You most likely know them all. You're having fun with them, and there's no one else there. And yeah, it's just a fun time. And so just
yeah.
getting everyone in the water, I think, is the main highlight. Anyway.
I know a lot of people that I coach for foil driving, it's like super important for me to try catch a few waves around them because like, you can give instruction so much and, they try process it and do it themselves. But I think a lot of the time they froth when they see you ride and they're just like, whoa, okay, I can see it now because it's like right in front of me.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that is probably a really cool point of this event. Like, a lot of people get to see guys like yourself foiling in the flesh. Like, it's only so much when you see it on YouTube or Instagram, but when you see it, like you doing a foil out 2 meters away from someone else, it's like, whoa. So I think it's pretty cool that people can foil with all these pros, and yeah, it's good
Yeah.
atmosphere.
100%. Seeing something like in person is definitely more valuable, and from given some coaching with foiling myself, towing people on a jet ski, you're trying to explain something to them, and sometimes it's like, I wish they could just drive the jet ski for a little bit and tow me, and so I could just show them, because it's just so much easier to like explain things and show when you're actually doing it. And for myself, I'm quite a visual learner as well. Like if I'm trying to learn a new trick or whatever, I'll watch a video and then try and emulate it. It's having just instruction and someone talking to you, it's not quite the same as being able to see it and then translate it yourself. So yeah.
Mm, agreed. So what did you ride? I'm curious, like, what did you ride like in terms of foil board and your foil drive setup?
So the foil board, I was on just an Axis Prone Surf 29 litre 4.3.
Oh wow, small.
Small, yeah. I don't
That's what you
actually.
normally ride prone?
Yeah, that's my prone board. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't actually have a designated foil drive board as of yet. So I'm just making that work. It's a bit of a trade-off. Like I can't really flat water it. I need a bit of a push from a wave to get up. So can be a bit tricky in the comp setting. Like I know on one or two of the heats, I spent about 5 minutes just trying to get up. And
Okay,
like,
hang on. How much do you weigh? Let's break this all down because that to me that's crazy. 23 liters and it's 4.3. And how much do you weigh?
29 litres.
Oh,
4.3.
29. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm 95 kilo.
You're
So
not doing yourself any favors there with the foil drive.
no, I've got to get another board for sure. So I kind of upsized my front wing a little bit just to help with the getting up. So
Mhm.
I think it was actually a prototype wing that I was riding. I don't know the area exactly.
I know the one. I've touched it.
You've touched it.
Yeah,
I think,
I've
I
run my
think,
hands over it.
yeah, I think it'd be like roughly a 900 to 1,000. span
Yep.
area roughly. Um, and then I actually like riding a long mast with the four-wheel drive. So I was on the 90 mast.
Oh wow,
Um,
it's very long.
yeah, because in my mind, like you got the pod and then you got the foil, and the more room I can put between the two, the more kind of the less the pod's touching and the more
You totally
smooth.
understand. Totally get it. Yep.
Yeah, so that in my mind, that's how I've approached four-wheel drive.
Do you ever use a 90 though with anything else?
Kite foiling, kite
Okay, so
foiling,
you're okay. Yep. It's not
kite
foreign.
parking.
You know the length of it then.
Yeah, it. I mean, on a 90 plus the four-wheel drive pod, it does feel like you're about 10 meters up in the air, but it's pretty cool being like, because like I ride everything from a 72 for downwinding to an 80 for proning, and then the 90 plus a four drive pod for four drive, and
Mm.
so it's sometimes you're like bombing down this wave, and you're like, I'm going to get ejected so hard so soon, and then you look down and you've still got like this much foil underwater, and you're like, oh, like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I tried that once. I think it was a 90 or a 95 centimeter mast, and I was riding it as if I was riding a 75 mast. So I just had like freaking 30 centimeters of foil further in the water column. And I was
Yeah.
just like, this thing sucks. I'm just dragging it around. It just feels so sluggish. And I didn't like that feeling of being 10 meters up in the air. It felt weird.
It feels weird when you start like doing a turn, hey, and you're
Oh,
like,
it just feels like you're on the biggest leaning tower of pizza, like far out.
yeah, you feel like you're on one of those air chairs. Yeah,
Totally.
it's gold. And then yeah, with the four-wheel drive setup, I was running um, the max battery, and the three-blade prop with the new
You don't
motor.
have the high powered stuff?
Yeah, I got the high power stuff. Yeah,
Okay, good. So that you're running that?
yeah.
Okay, good.
And then I kind of wish. So we ended up actually doing a photo shoot as well with four-wheel drive. It's a loud thing driving down the street. A photo shoot with four-wheel drive, and kind of. Can you still
That's all
hear
right.
me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear a
Yes.
little bit. It's fine. Keep going.
Um, and use the um, performance battery, the one that's slightly smaller, because I've got like the biggest one. Um,
Oh, you're
and so
talking about
you,
the sport. The sport's a
yeah,
smaller
sport
battery
battery.
under
Yeah, yeah,
the max. Yeah.
yeah. So you had to go with the sport battery, and that was like a noticeable difference in terms of being able to surf it harder, and you notice a little bit less weight. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I was kind of like, oh man, that would have been good to have in the comp, but yeah, it was super sick to ride on that photo shoot. Kind of made a huge difference.
Yeah, we got a sick photo out of that one. Did you see the one that I posted yesterday or the other
Yeah,
day?
it was sick. It
Sick
was
shot.
man, it was mayhem out there. Hey, like so, obviously, like all us foil drivers, I think there was about 6 or 7, and then code, like it was a bit of a code team shoot as well, and so there was like 20 code riders out there getting towed around like skis, and you got like this drone flying around, then you got the photographer in the water, and it was just like it was so much going on, and
Yeah.
I'm buzzing around trying to avoid people, and I remember that one wave where I got that shot, and I was like, oh, I reckon, like I got a good shot out of there, and kind of took the pressure off for the rest of the session. Just had a
Oh, it
sick
was
time.
probably the best shot of the whole shoot. You nailed
Uh, yeah, I was frothing. It was good.
it. Um, so tell me just a few of the matchups. I'm just keen to see who was ripping on the foil drive, in your opinion. Like who was
Uh,
pushing it?
Jeremy was he's ballsy. Some of the sections, like I seen him go down. Like I know I went down a couple where I was like, oh, and then I turn around and see him going down like an even skittier one. So he was pushing pretty hard as always. He's a few screws loose, old Jezza.
Hmm.
So that was cool to watch. And then yeah, James Casey putting in some good turns as well.
I've
Um,
seen him doing some whitewash bangers, which is, I think, it's pretty tricky on a foil drive because when you hit the whitewash, your pod and your unit is in the water, so it creates so much drag to try and
There's a
get back out of it, especially if you're not riding like a trench board.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of extra drag for sure, and the
mm,
weight on the board, like I feel is a bit different to when you're just proning. Like it's easy to kind of lose it in the wash a little bit, and it's definitely something that I haven't really explored yet is hidden whitewash with a four drive. So yeah, that was cool to watch as well. Same
um, all right.
same
Yeah.
whitewash
Well,
on a sub board too. Like gets gets sketchy real quick.
yeah. Zane does it really well. I've seen him hit the whitewash with his sup, and like that. Yeah, just feels like too much taco-ness right there.
Yeah, and I suppose it depends
Mm,
what wing you're riding because
mm.
like surfier
You
wings.
couldn't do it on a Frank board or a bullet, but you could do it probably on like a flat bottom sup that's a bit
Yeah,
shorter. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Mm. Um, cool. Well, I know you've kind of got an exciting couple months coming up. Tell us a little bit about yeah, where you're off to.
Yeah, a few big months coming up. Lots of travels. I've just packed my bags. It's crazy packing a bag to go on these trips. Like I've got three 32-kilo bags. It's a bit skits. But yeah, heading off to Fiji tomorrow. Off to Namotu Island, working there for um, a few weeks, which would be sick.
Is
Uh,
Ryan going to be there as well? Have you spoke to Ryan?
I
Ozzy?
haven't actually touched base with him. I think he is
You
going to
should.
be there.
Sick.
Um, I met him there last year when I was there. But yeah, I'm,
I'm pretty
I'm not
sure he's
actually.
there. I was talking to him the other day and he was in Wonga's bar.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Pretty sure he's there for a few weeks while I'm there. So yeah, that'd be sick to catch up with him again. Um, and then yeah, after that, so that's all kite surfing, surfing, foiling. Whatever you
Oh, is
want to
that a
do.
Benny Wilson kite
That's the
week thing?
Benny Wilson weeks. Yeah, for
Sick.
sure. So I don't know if anyone knows about that stuff, but it's like his unlimited weeks. It's whatever water sport you can poke a stick at on the ocean. You're there to do it in Fiji and in Paradise, and it's unreal. So yeah, stoked to get that opportunity. And then after that, I kind of come back. I'm back home. What was that?
Oh, I just coughed. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of back here for 4 days, and then off to Hawaii for the race season. So take off there, spend 3 weeks there. Downwinding with everyone. Super excited for that. We haven't really had any downwind conditions here, so it'd be good to get back on the horse and riding the sup board. Had an awesome time over there last year. I just missed the races, but spending time on Maui and doing those Maliko runs, it's really sick. So keen on that, and then back home for a day, and then I'm back to Fiji for another 5 weeks, doing the same stuff. So
Jesus.
yeah, that's going to be sick again. Can't wait. And then after that, I'm home for a week, and then I go to Indo for 2 weeks at Lakey Peak, kiting and surfing. So that's a bit of a personal trip, just going for fun. So got to break it up with all the work trips.
Love it. That is a few months for sure of
Yeah,
having, sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of work, but like a lot of fun. You're in some pretty magic spots and I'm sure you're going to be probably in the water more than you're out of it.
dude, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be like 8 hour days in the water for.
How the hell do you manage this with your, don't you have a missus?
Yeah, got a missus. She's not
She's cool.
exactly stoked. But, yeah, like I
Yeah.
try to bring her along and, do a trip after a work trip or whatever like that. Like last year, working Bennett's camp in Bali, she came over and we did 2 weeks in Bali afterwards. So, we try and do stuff like that. But I mean, I feel like it's a bit cheeky to ask Benny Wilson if we can, get her into a get her into a pad on the Motu. So, yeah, I mean, and then Hawaii is just, what it's like. It's go, go, go. There's not much downtime. And, for myself, I didn't really have any accommodation sorted until I think like yesterday or something. So I didn't really have any plans. And, it's kind of fine to do that while you're on your own. But when you're trying to, provide and do stuff with you and your missus, it's a bit different. You kind of need to be a bit more organised. And so, yeah, maybe next time.
Well, she sounds super cool to let you be doing all these activities.
100%.
Um,
Pretty grateful for sure.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have you got anything else to kind of throw out there, or I think we've kind of covered a lot of topics,
Yeah.
and I think actually no, sorry, one more that I will touch on is so you're up in the Byron Lennox area, the
Yep.
foil mecca, pretty much of Australia and the world. I think a lot of people travel now for the world.
Man, it's
Um,
actually crazy. Like, I've spoke to a few people recently, and I'm like, "Oh, where are you from?" "Oh, wherever they are in Europe." And they're like, "Yeah, I see videos on YouTube or whatever, and I come to foil this wave." And it's like, "Oh wow, okay, it is actually
Dude,
pretty."
I would not that I've been to Chicama, but I would rather go to Watergoes when it's firing than Chicama.
Just having the variation, it's not just a point break. It's not just the
Yeah.
same.
Well, Chicama always just looks cold and windy and like it just looks like heaps of effort. And then you go to Watergoes, it's like dolphins, blue water, like board
Rainbow.
shorts, heaps of hot chicks. Like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, it's a bit of a heaven on earth for sure.
But what I was getting at is I've got a lot of people, especially because Amos is up in Lennox too. A lot of people love his foil drive trench board, and I get people just asking like, "I'm doing a trip to Byron, um, where do I go foil drive?" And I know like Watergoes and the pass and all that. It's a marine sanctuary, right?
Yeah, correct. So Byron, obviously, as you know, foil drives are kind of, and e-foils are kind of classed as a PWC, so same class as the jet ski, really. Um, and yeah, the whole marine park to Byron Bay is completely off limits to e-foils, and foil assist. They've actually put up some signs now. It's like a little foil guy riding a foil with a prop on it, so you can kind of see everyone's like, "Oh, there's no foils here," and it's like, "No, you see the little prop thing? That means like it's this." So
Motor.
yeah, there's always someone trying to enforce on you. So yeah, there's definitely nothing in Byron. Pretty much right from Byron, I think back to Lennox. I've heard of
Really?
yeah. Well, I
Wow.
know you're not allowed jet skis in Lennox. So
I've seen footage of you on a jet ski in Linux.
not in Lennox Head. No.
I'm joking.
Um, I've been close, but yeah, no. It's I've heard of Maritime actually coming by and getting
Yeah,
people out of
shit.
the water recently. So they are definitely doing a bit of a crackdown on it. So it's something to watch out for. But there's so many other breaks south of Lennox that are perfect for a foil drive. Like I know a few people have been out at Flat Rock, which is like, you know, we used to call it Fat Rock growing up because the waves they're always fat and it's a long paddle out and you can kind of get some pretty sick ones from behind the rock. Right
Dude,
hands.
that bomb, like if you're looking at Flat Rock, that bommy to the right, that is it like a left or is it just an A-frame that when it's big?
It's literally just like a flat rock, and then you got the right come in and the left come in, and the left's a bit more of like a it can get really like hollow
Oh
on
wow.
the right as well, um, and then it goes fat, and then you can kind of get these ones that push down the beach on the left, and then the right hand is just kind of a nice point breaky right. So you got two options there, right and the left, and then there's pretty much everywhere along the beaches in Ballina, like it'll break on a sandbank and break into a gutter. And so you've got these pretty friendly like exit points for foiling so you can moat back out. And then another one, which is pretty underrated in my eyes, is like South Ballina. You've generally got no one there. It's a bit of a mission to get to by driving, but if you've got a four-wheel drive, you can just motor across the river.
That
Um,
is so clever. I never thought of that. Even if you just jetted off from South Wall and went around, and
yeah,
then you'd have North Wall all to yourself, eh?
yeah,
No,
literally.
sorry, the other way around, North Wall to South Wall.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, South
Oh,
Wall,
damn, that's such a good little trick.
especially for like goofies as well. Like if you got a bit of a
Oh,
north swell, the the
northeast
waves
wind
like
protected in
TP,
there.
yeah, and they just like TP off down the beach. I reckon the only thing you'd have to be careful over there is like having too much fun and killing your battery while you're over there.
Oh, you'd have to swim back.
Yeah, we used to, like we paddle the bar to go and surf it because they've actually shut the road up to South Arnhem now. So we paddle across the bar, and back back when I was getting into foiling, and a lot of the crew around here, we'd actually paddle out and just foil in the river mouth. And it's a pretty sketchy river mouth if anyone knows it. It can be, especially in flood water, or whatever it
There's
can
a
be.
recent video that Jeremy put up of him foil driving it. But yeah, there's a lot of current that moves out of it. Hey, it's dangerous.
A lot of current. Like I definitely wouldn't recommend it, particularly if the water's like brown. If you're there and the water's pretty clean and whatever, 100%. But unless you know the spot, I wouldn't recommend it if the water's brown. There's been some sessions out there where there's schools of mullet and logs going past you, and yeah, it can get pretty full on pretty quickly. But yeah, it's definitely got some really good potential there if you can score it.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for all your advice, giving us a window into your background and history. And we're stoked from Foil Drive to have you on the team. You're ripping, you're doing amazing things for the sport. It sounds like you've got an amazing year coming up with all this travel. And yeah, thanks for your
Yeah,
time.
no, thank you, dude. Thanks for putting this on, and yeah, appreciate your time and chatting to you. It's been epic, and yeah, look, frothing to be on the team with Foil Drive, and look forward to what's to come. Keen to see it.
La Last question. Are you going to be at AWSI?
I'm not sure. I would love to.
Okay.
I had a ball on that trip last time.
Yeah.
It just
Because
do we
does
know
that fall just after Indo, the last Indo trip, or is it in between?
what date? What date's AWSI?
It's the start of September. I think it's like the 6th or the 4th to the 6th or something.
Yeah, see, I think I fly to Indo on the 7th. So
Oh, yeah. So you might miss it this year.
yeah,
Bugger.
I'm gonna
No,
miss
it's
it.
always such a fun trip. Hey.
Man, it was such a ball over there last year. I'm
Mm.
kind of spewing that I'm going to miss it, but you know,
Ah, well, it'll be next year.
yeah,
All right,
nah,
dude. We'll have a lovely day. We'll chat soon, and I'm keen to see what you get up to in the Motu. I'm sure you're going to get some good waves over there.
yeah, sick. Thanks again,
All
dude.
right, dude.
Appreciate it.
All right. See ya.